Harry, do you think a meat-heavy diet is contraindicated on a diet that with high diet also high in vegetables and some fiber? Look, the thing is, we do not have any nutritional research, nutritional research. Let's be completely candid. What we go on is from Randall cycle, understanding the Randall cycle, understanding that fiber is contraindicated because it actually, too much fiber. We don't have a cecum. See, if you've got a cecum, where your appendix is, that means between your colon and your small intestine, you've got an appendix. That used to be a cecum. So the fiber would come in, it put it into the cecum, it would break it down in the cecum. It's like a second stomach. It would break it down, and then it would go into the colon, break, and then it would be pooped out by the ape. That is less problematic. But if you're actually going from the small intestine straight in because you've got no cecum anymore, straight into the colon, a lot of that, especially if it's also uncooked, especially the fiber, it will have all these hooks and they create micro tears in the collagen fibers of the small intestine. And that's what eventually can create diverticulitis and a whole lot of other inflammatory bowel conditions. That's right. Also can actually increase Prevotella. Prevotella increases, and Prevotella also increases many of the interleukins, the inflammatory side, so you increase a lot of that. So Prevotella, you still need some Prevotella, but Prevotella needs to be in a normal range. If it goes too high, then it becomes a problem, and fiber tends to increase it. So you've got this increase and gut imbalance in terms of the gut microbiome imbalance in the colon, which increases inflammation. Plus, you've got the wear, especially if it's not cooked, to break down some of the fibrous material. You've got too much fibrous material, which can scrape against the actual lining of the colon and actually cause micro tears and stuff like that. Do that for long enough in large amounts because you can't deal. Humans are not, we gave up on that a long time ago. We gave up on a cecum. The apes have got it, the gorillas have got big cecums. The chimps have got slightly smaller, so they can tolerate some fiber, but humans cannot really tolerate. We used to soak it and cook it and all that and break it down. And even tribal people, when they get fibrous stuff, they usually chew through. They take as much glucose out of it as they can, and they spit out all the fiber. They don't eat the fiber. And in many of the tribal groups, they'll actually pound fibrous stuff to break down the fibrous stuff to get rid of it, to remove it so they can get more of the starch. That's what they want. They want the starch. They don't want, because remember, leaner animals, you need more of the starch in that seasonal starch to fatten up for the winter or for the leaner months. That's what they're doing, So they're not focused on. So fiber is definitely contraindicated. So those sort of vegetables with high fiber, I say if you're going to do any like a low carbohydrate type things, if you're going to do anything, consider a bit of pumpkin, consider a bit of something like zucchini and all that, and small amounts of those sort of things. Yeah, if that's what you like or want to have some of that, James, but it's not required. My dad still has a lot of meat in some of these. He makes his zucchini pies because he grows zucchinis. He's been doing that for years. And it's mainly just a bit of zucchini. The inside, he scrapes all out of a small zucchini. He'll scrape or throw it into a big bucket and throw in 2 liters of cream, 2 liters of milk, a big slab of feta cheese, which is like 500 grams of feta cheese. So basically, it's more dairy than it's it's just the vegetable matter is more there and that is also, he's had those, because when he cut them, he leaves them and they sort of, when they sort of have like this drying effect, where you leave them, you cut the tip off, you leave them, and they actually sit there, and they just basically for for quite some time. I think I can't remember how many months or whatever before he cuts them open, and usually in the winter he'll make some of his these pies for himself, and that actually breaks down slightly the fibrous component by doing that. So it makes it much softer, and it can actually be mixed easier. When you actually try to get it like when it's fresh, it's very fibrous. So by leaving it out there, it's sort of like it matures, and it breaks down the fibrous material inside. So when you scrape the inside of the zucchini, the fibrous material has been broken down. And then you've, any lectins and stuff like that, because you've actually using dairy and stuff like that. You're still, even if you pasteurize stuff, you still have some lactoferrin, not a lot, but with the amount of quantity that Dad puts in, he's probably going to get some inhibition of those as well. So I don't recommend that sort of stuff, but it's the least egregious compared to some other stuff that people are consuming out there, especially Salad Boy and these multiple grams of fructose. You can do worse. Let me put it that way.